Welcome back, AfterBuzzers, to the Shy After Show. Tonight, we have a hot show. We're talking about Brandon and Jerrika. Brandon's getting in deep with Duda. We're talking about good cops, well, really bad cops. All that and more coming up for you next.
You're tuned in to AfterBuzz TV, the ESPN of TV talk. Now, let the buzz begin.
Woo! What's up, party people? Hey. I'm your host, Erika Edwards, but I couldn't do it without Cruz, the wonderful, masculine on the panel, Chef Beanz.
Chef Beanz with the mental cuisine.
Yes. And the explosive Kittie Kaboom.
That's right. Very good. Good to see you, people.
Yay. So tonight, it's season 2, episode 7, The Blind Eye is the episode we're talking about tonight. And overall, what did you guys feel about this episode? What are your overall thoughts?
Honestly, this was my favorite episode of the season so far. I feel like It was just jam-packed with so much content and so many different conversations. So I'm excited to just jump right into it.
I enjoyed it. I don't know if it was my favorite. I definitely took a heed to that statement when you told me that that's how you felt. So it was very good, though. I thought that the interaction was dope, and I really just love being able to see the poignant moments. You know what I mean? All in between all the craziness, and even with the kids, which is always dope. It's nice to see like a moment where there's that, whether it be sexual tension or a love interest or whatever, just like a coming together, nice little come to Jesus meeting. I love those in the middle of the chaos.
Yeah, I found this episode, it gave us a lot of backstory in a way that wasn't tiresome. Mm-hmm. So I liked that a lot. And there were some things that I wasn't a fan of, but overall, I kind of liked how the storylines kind of flowed together and they kept it moving. But yeah, I do agree with you. I think one of the things I love and also dislike, I think, about The Shy is that they do so many different
storylines.
Not just storylines, but sort of like topics, right? So many different topics with each of the characters. So I feel like it could go further.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like if they slimmed it down a little bit, then we could find out more about Jerrica or more about whoever they're focusing on at the time or whatever. So that is kind of a thing that I almost
You love to hate it?
Yeah, I don't really like it because I feel like they hit a lot of good topics, but not enough where I was like, they could really go there if they took the time to, if it wasn't like 80 other things going on.
So you think they need to flesh out everything?
No. I think they should select the things that are important that they want to stand behind. Like, to me, the cop shootings in Chicago and major cities is a big issue, as is the issue with low-income housing. Mm-hmm. So to me, those are so huge, and it's kind of like you're kind of breezing through. So that is sort of, that's my one thing, but I do like that they're at least putting it out there. So I think that's really important.
It is.
So let's start off. We'll go from light to heavy tonight. So let's start off with kind of the storyline that I'm least feeling this season, which would be Ronnie. Ronnie, Jada, and Ethel.
I love them. What do you mean?
Yeah, I don't know if Jada's really going to fall through with this, even though she does have the cobwebs, which we've talked about before. I don't know how Ronnie and her are going to make this chemistry happen. It's still a little weird to me.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's a little weird to me, too, because I think they come from different, and I hate to say this, classes. I'm not being classist people, okay? I promise. But they're from two different worlds, it seems. So it doesn't seem like they would be attracted to each other, but they did kiss. She didn't pull back or anything.
And that is the first picture I have is of Ronnie and Jada. I don't think their worlds are so different. Like, I think where they originally came from, like she was a single mother and whatever. I think they came from, the same
south side of Chicago.
Right, the same sort of hood, but she was kind of one of those people who was sort of able to pull herself up by her bootstraps, and he sort of, kind of did not. And he could have, because he went off to the army or whatever. So, he kind of took a different turn, a different path. So I think I do like that she's very, she does sort of, I think, advise him. She's kind of like, his therapist.
She is kind of his therapist. That's a good point.
And that part I do really enjoy. I think what I don't really like about Ronnie's particular storyline is it seems like it's not going anywhere. Like it's it's like I'm not feeling it. Like it's just
he's just there.
He's just there,
right.
exactly.
He like now that he's gotten past the whole shooting thing and he's out of jail, it's like I need the woman to spit on him again. I need something to kind of happen. And now this whole thing about dealing with his living across the street from his dad.
Right.
So do you think that he should confront his grandmother? What do you guys think?
Well, with this situation, I do think that him and his grandmother do need to have a conversation, but I could be thinking too much about it. But I think the car is symbolic of his relationship with his father, how it was broken down. And he's trying to fix that because that's the last piece of his father that he has left. With him still suffering with his PTSD and everything, I don't know. That's just what stood out to me the most. But I don't know what impact it would make with his grandma, but it seemed like it's something that's like just dwindling in the air, being that his character is just taking up space.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm on the fence about it. Honestly, I think that it might be detrimental if he brings it up. You know what I mean? She's good for having that attitude. That thing, she stay mad. So you don't really want to do anything else to provoke her. But at the same time, pretending is not the answer. You know what I mean? Getting help or being able to talk through whatever your issues are with people that you genuinely love is super important for your own growth and for your own ability to handle other aspects of life. So I'm torn. I really don't know. Should he, shouldn't he? I don't know.
Yeah, I think for his own personal sort of closure on it, he should talk to her about it. Like, not really confront her or the whole, why is he across the street, but he can't speak to me, all that. Maybe not confront her, but get some sort of resolution one way or the other. And I think, especially as she gets older, do it sooner rather than later. You know what I'm saying? Because once she gets more, she gets dementia or whatever, once she's really gone, then she's going to be gone mentally or whatever. So I do feel like he should maybe not confront her, but especially if he's acting different around her and he's not really being around her and stuff, that she's going to notice that change. She's going to be upset, as Jada mentioned. So I think he should get some sort of resolution. But I understand the apprehension.
But do you think she would be able to give it to him? That's not really her steez. What is she going to provide? Like he said, talking to her ain't going to do nothing. I hate to say it, but I don't know that her reaction will be amicable. What is she going to say that's going to make it give a resolution to the problem?
Right, because she identified with it. She's like, yeah, Ronnie's all he's been paying attention to is that car. So she recognized that he's a little standoffish. But what will happen as far as mitigating the situation if the conversation was to happen?
What is she going to say or he going to say to be able to smooth it out? I think it would be a huge, huge fight, and it would just probably make it... Sometimes you just need to leave well enough alone. Because look at who she is at her core. She will bite that boy's head off. You know, I want to know what you think about him and Jada.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, okay. So one thing I did like about him and Jada, we'll get off him confronting the grandmother. We'll move on from that. But one thing I did like was that he didn't push it. You know what I'm saying? He moved in for a kiss and got up out of there. Like, I really respected that. Because I was like, she not feeling you like that, dude. You got a meal.
How do you know she kissed him back?
Yeah, but
no, let's be clear. As women, if a man leaned in for a kiss and you kiss him back, how are you not feeling him? We know how to say, excuse me.
Right. I mean, I'm not saying she's not at all attracted to him, but I think there's a timing thing. And I definitely felt like had he pushed for more, she would have been like, okay, slow down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but he didn't. He did the smooth thing.
No, I know. That's what I'm saying. I like that because I think he can move it a little bit further. Because I feel like she kind of realizes, like, you killed someone. You know what I mean? Like, I think she has her own apprehensions with him. Right. And there's some chemistry there. And she hasn't, she ain't been with nobody in a long time. Right. So there's that. But I think this is something that's going to have to grow on her. Is what I honestly
probably
think.
And I think he's doing it the right way. As you said, he's taking his time. You know what I mean? He's totally being respectful. He excused himself. She didn't have to ask him to leave or anything. And he's always been super polite to her. Plus, he's totally in her debt. In a way, because she came to the aid of his grandmother, even when the grandma was being who she is. You know what I mean? That's a lot.
His life.
He got fired because of him. Yeah, she got fired, and she's still around. She's got a good heart.
No, absolutely. I mean, I love her character, and I do feel like she's very good and genuine. I mean, we don't need any more characters on the show, but I would like her to have an option, another option, something.
Somebody else who know how to make
young
a
brother that
show.
moved into the
Thank
neighborhood.
You know what I'm saying? Maybe an older lawyer or something. I don't know. I would like her to have another option, personally, but and then Ronnie's still dealing with his grandbaby, and he's halfway tied to his ex and stuff. I don't know. But I'm not totally offended by it.
All right. She's open to it.
Yes, I'm open to it, but I want so much more for Jada.
Yeah,
I know,
I'm
right?
cool off of that.
It would be settling, though. It would be settling, no question.
Yeah, I'm cool off that relationship. Like, it's just weird to me still.
Yeah, because he leaned in, so it was a moment, but he's still kind of a little awkward.
Right.
I don't know. It's something. It's not quite juiced up yet, but hopefully it will be.
There we go.
I can see
hopefully
Common, maybe if Common, and Jada, but
now that would be dope.
That would be
that
amazing.
would be the
First of all,
dopest.
Common's a little too young for her, but yeah, I see that.
Whatever. She
can
could get some young love.
That's what's
that
up.
would be nice. So that would be super, super cool. Let's move on to Emmett, because Emmett had sort of, some little light scenes in this episode. So Emmett seems to be...
He is so fine. I'm not lusting after a little boy.
He is a cutie pie. He is a cutie pie.
He's a cutie pie.
He is a cutie pie. Now, okay, Chef Beanz. All right, this question is for you. Okay, so Emmett, this is so interesting. So Emmett is kind of like getting a little some kind of way in his feelings about Keisha not hitting him back, to the point where he's getting ready to go out and buy her some shoes, some track shoes. And so before we touch on his whole jealousy thing, I want to know, Chef Beanz, what do you think, or what is your opinion on Emmett's quote unquote F buddy rule? If you're in a relationship, you just continue to be friends with benefits, but don't have any feelings attached. Is that the rule?
I think that's tricky, because where I am in the headspace that I'm in now, I redefine what integrity is. So I think if someone else is in a relationship, regardless of our friendship or our bond that we established over the years, I'm just not rocking with that, because I'm a firm believer in karma. Now, Beans or Chef Beanz a year or two ago, I'm like, cool, yeah, that can rock out. But no, I don't. I'm not with that, like, at all on both sides, because I just feel like it's misleading to whoever we're trying to build something with, if we are in like a committed relationship, even if it is prior to marriage. It's just not cool with me.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I just think it's going to be a problem. It doesn't matter how I feel about being a friends with benefits.
I've been in a situation
Well,
before.
not that, but what about the rule? Because specifically, because I think there's a lot of different relationships.
I just don't think it's realistic. Honestly, I think that people go into it hoping that they can do this, but we've seen too many rom-coms based on the subject matter to know that the realization is most women, not all, some women out there are thuggish, ruggish, and more power to you. I'm in awe of you, but most women are very emotional. So saying that they're going to do that and not expecting that there are going to be some ramifications or some consequences is just being unrealistic. You know what I mean? And he obviously is feeling some type of way too. So that friends with benefits, he wouldn't be talking about her. He most certainly wouldn't be buying her no damn shoes.
Yeah, so that was interesting. I think that Brandon showed him. He was like, okay, y'all don't have no feelings, but you're going to buy her these expensive track shoes.
Another man's woman is what he said.
Yeah.
I like how he put it too.
Exactly.
Like, this ain't even your girl. And she's somebody else's girl. If she was nobody's girl, then that's one thing. And that still would be kind of sus. I would be looking at him like, that's not a cool sitch. But it's somebody else's woman that you messing with now. She's not your girl. You need to back up. So clearly he feels something. And now he done found out it's the coach. Oh, it's on, baby.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that was dope how they set that up.
That was interesting. So Kevin dropped a few little hints.
Right.
And I didn't think he was going to come clean to Kevin. I thought he was just going to roll with it, but eventually he did, which I kind of liked, because I feel like it's going to help.
Have some integrity.
Yeah, it'll help kind of this whole issue with Keisha come to the forefront. So, that's the next picture I have, is a picture of Emmett and the coach. I forgot his name. But and the coach. And, he's like, well, aren't you a little old to be running track? And he's like, I'm the coach.
Right.
Coach Kelly?
Yes, Coach Kelly. So what do you guys think, specifically, what do you think Emmett is going to do with that information?
It's not going to be cute.
Well, Emmett has already shown his hand as far as being a jealous person. Like, so he's going to manipulate the situation. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to turn out, but you could tell he's definitely taking it personal. Even the coach talking to him in a very condescending way. Like,
Right.
you're short. You know, just very in control over the situation. And even how Brandon kept naming the monetary things like Beamer, this, and different things. You could tell Brandon is in competition with himself, but also now he's battling this older dude with someone who has, you know, the love of his life or one of his loves in the palm of his hands.
That's what it is, the love of his life. That's
I mean,
what Keisha
he
is.
really cared about Keisha. You can tell that's why he did.
But that's
have sex
because
with
she
her.
gives him her ass to kiss. Keisha doesn't mess around. Once she was done, she was done. And she thinks she's moved on to bigger and better. So she most certainly is not giving him no leeway. And he likes that. Most men do. Once you say no,
Right.
at them pawing at you and stuff, then they want you even, I mean, at them ignoring you. Like once you decide you're done and you walk away, inevitably they come after you. That's just human nature because we want what we can't have.
Very true. So you don't think he's going to reveal it like to
I
her
don't think he
family
is.
or to
I don't
her
think
mother?
he is. I think he
or-
might say something to her directly, but I don't think he's about to be a snitch. That doesn't seem his style. No matter how big his feelings are, I think he'd probably pull her aside and be like, "Yo, what's up with you and this coach?" You know what I mean? And of course, that's going to bring all kinds of questions. How would you know that? Mind your business. I could just see her now.
Yeah.
Like that ain't none of your business. You worried about the wrong thing. And I think that would kind of, it would definitely piss her off, but it'll create a snowball effect for her. Like, oh, I got to be more. I thought I was being secretive. I thought I was being careful, but I guess I need to be
Right.
even more so because how would Emmett, of all people, because you know she knows that he still likes her, so I'm sure she could chalk
Right.
that up as he probably stalked me, you know what I mean, and saw me get out the car or saw me with this guy and came to that conclusion. But I see him saying something confronting Keisha. I don't see him being a snitch and just telling people for the sake of time. What good would that do?
Well, one, I mean, ethically, you know, it could be statutory rape. I mean, there's some real issues with this old man
Right.
coach
Yeah.
coming onto her and dealing with her and buying her stuff and sleeping with her. And to me, even as her friend, like I get it, you don't want to be a snitch, but it's not just so much just the jealousy thing. It's the fact that it's this old man who's a coach, really. So.
Yeah, but Emmett doesn't have those kind of value systems, unfortunately. It's not like he's some stand-up guy that's just gonna, well, it's wrong, because if he does do that, it'll be purely out of jealousy, not for, let me stand up for Keisha's honor.
Right. I can see Emmett saying things passively, and even to kind of put myself in Emmett's shoes. I remember in high school, there were those girls who, you know, just wanted to mess with like older dudes. Maybe not this old, but in our mind or our guy circle, it was just kind of like, well, you know, like, dang, like just that passively, not like what you said, going out the way and telling a group of people, hey,
Well,
she's
not a
messing
group
with
of people, but to
anybody,
me,
anybody that
yeah,
can do something
yeah.
about it.
I don't see
Yeah.
that. I don't see that on Emmett's heart. I think he'll just take it on the chin or either say something to her passively.
All right. Well, Emmett, I hope better, because really, I do think that if you go to, especially high school, like if I was in high school and there was some stuff going around about people in high school sleeping with teachers
Right.
and coaches and stuff, like that's crazy. And it's, you know, kind of just, I don't know. But anyway, we'll move on from that. But before we move on to the next topic, Chef Beanz has something to tell you all.
Yes, I have a bunch of things to tell you all. Thanks for making us the ESPN of TV talk. We couldn't do this without you. But before we move forward, we just need you to do a few things. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're on iTunes, leave us a 5-star rating. But no matter where you are, leave us a nice, juicy comment. AfterBuzz TV has meant so much to all of us, definitely giving us confidence inside and outside of the studio. So if you can do those few things, it'll make us all very happy.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. 5 stars.
5 stars,
and give us a
people.
thumbs up if you're, you know, if you watched this much so far, because you're here anyway. Let's move on to Brandon and Jerrica. So this episode actually had a lot going on with them, which was really interesting. So Brandon gets this check from Otis Perry / Duda for $50K. He gets a new truck. He gets all these things. And so he's growing closer to Duda. And at first, he tries to take the money back. And so there's this scene that he has with Duda, and Duda is like kind of schooling him on thinking bigger. And what did you all feel about the advice that Duda was giving him?
The Duda was giving him, or that the stepfather was giving him?
No,
about
that Duda. I'm talking about Duda first.
Okay.
Honestly, I think Duda gave him some good advice. Thinking in an entrepreneurial headspace. Now, being that Duda is
bad
dirty,
guy.
the bad guy,
Right.
I can see like how this can spiral out of control. But he actually did say like very good things as far as like investing and all that. So I thought it was good, but from the person who it was coming from, I just don't think this is setting Brandon up for success.
I think Brandon knows better. And I think that the unfortunate part is that we live in a society where money talks much louder than anything I can tell you. So I hand you a $50,000 check, but I tell you to your face, I'm the devil. Okay, I'm still taking that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That he's had too many people in his life that know about this man and have given him some good advice for him to he's just smarter than that. I hope that he takes heed and he doesn't go for it. Because anything that comes that easy, baby, you're going to pay out the ass for that.
That's true. So then the next picture I have is the picture of Duda and Brandon when he first tells him dream bigger or think bigger. Mm-hmm. And what I think is interesting about Duda sometimes, except honestly for this episode, but usually exactly what you said, like he'll give him this, these kind of powerful entrepreneurial spirit type speeches, but that he is got his money really illegally. So It's like, okay, well, does that stuff really work? Because you're doing something illegal. But what I did think, but then you do have to use common sense, because what I did think was crazy, even in this episode, now this particular episode, I was like, really? You lost your job and you bought a Benz, or whatever. Like sometimes I was like, okay, I get that you want to push yourself harder, but pushing yourself harder into debt for a car, like, okay, no, there were a couple times where I was like, all right, you going too far.
I lost my job, but now I got a house.
He was just trying to make, obviously, giving an analogy or a point to say, basically, when the chips are down, don't fall prey to that mentality. Like, go out there and make yourself better, as he said. It's a pep talk. And I don't know how true, you know what I mean? But I just don't think that he meant for Brandon to take his words literally in terms of the examples. I think he was just trying to give him like a headspace of, this is where you need to be, this is how you need to think if you want to succeed. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I see where you're going, but I was kind of like, okay, yeah, your money advice is not the greatest, but but I did like the beginning where he was like, you do need to have bigger dreams and you need to be willing to work harder. But on the flip side, it's like, well, yeah, you're working harder, but really, I'm just taking your money. So that was sort of interesting. Like if you really look at kind of what he's spouting, but what he's really doing.
Well, he's a devil. I mean, he's like a horrible human being. Right? He's super shady. He's sneaky as hell. You know what I'm saying? He's setting this damn young boy up. So he's going to say whatever he needs to say in order to keep him on the team. He wants to make sure that he doesn't deviate because he's the fish. They got him on a hook. He can't get let go. So I'm going to say whatever I need to say. I'm going to manipulate it any way I can. I'm going to throw money at the problem. Whatever it takes. Is my boss, who is currently locked up but doing a bid very lovely like, has told me that you the fish.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? What else is he supposed to say? Like, if you want the money, keep it. If you don't, give it back. Like, he's going to give him a talk to try to reel him in.
Yeah, now what I found was interesting was he sort of gave Brandon the option. He's like, okay, well, think about it, but not too long.
Yeah.
So do you, Chef Beanz, think that was like an authentic thing? Like,
no, absolutely not. I don't think it was authentic. I think he knew.
Like, does he have the option to walk away is my question, really, at this point, anyway.
No, I don't think so, especially after the truck and everything was invested. Once he shook that hand, and once he shook your hand, I think that was the commitment. Mm-hmm. And I'm not exactly sure how he's going to get himself out of this mess. But I don't think Duda authentically or genuinely said, no, well, you have an option. Like, Brandon is not going anywhere, easily at least.
Okay. So Brandon also has a discussion about Duda with his stepfather, Greavy. Which is the next photo that I have. And it's interesting because Jerrica already told him, that Duda was shady. Mm-hmm. And it's like he didn't really believe her, which it was interesting that Jerrica knows. Everybody else where did you grow up, Brandon?
Exactly.
Why do you not know nothing?
Know? Exactly.
Like, that was my question. So this is the first time he seems like he's almost taking it seriously, at least at this point. Mm-hmm. What did you feel? Why did you feel he chose to believe his stepfather over Jerrica?
Well, I mean,
what do you guys think?
In this situation, I think it's kind of like even when your parents give you advice sometimes. Like, I know when my mom used to tell me certain things, it doesn't always register. But if my coach told me, I'll be like, okay. Exactly. So I think in this situation, though Jerrica is talking to him, he doesn't really have the father-son relationship with his stepfather, but his stepfather has always been very transparent with him. Like, look, this is what it is. And I think this might have been Brandon's aha moment because he was already approaching this situation very vulnerable, you know, wanting to talk about Jerrica, their love. And his stepfather was kind of like, Duda? No, opposite way. So that's why I think he received it from him in this capacity more than Jerrica.
Okay, cool. And then, so on the flip side, we see Jerrica going through her sort of emotional issues with this low-income housing thing, and he encourages her to leave her job and follow her dreams.
Right.
What do you guys think about that in light of now you've got to take Duda's money, even though you've heard...
I'm not sure what to think about that. I like the fact that I think he said it out of just pure love for her. You know what I mean? I don't think that he really expected her to do it because she's followed the rules up until now, and she was leaning towards not doing it. So I think that he kind of called her bluff. You know what I mean? And then when he said yes, it kind of freaked him out a little bit. But you're right. That's the only recourse he has is the money that he's been given by Otis Perry. He's not going to be able to make that kind of money on a truck to pay his rent. He would remember when he got robbed? He only had like $200 for the day. So I don't see that he's going to be able to make what he thinks in order to create the kind of financial stability that she needs. So I guess he got to do it. But it was sad. It was sad to watch him kind of go down that rabbit hole of, oh,
exactly.
Shit, what I do now?
Exactly. And that's the picture I have of like after she's like, oh, I quit my job. And he's sort of like happy, but not like now I have to be, working with the devil. Yeah. I have to go back with the Duda, even though I don't really want to. What are your thoughts, Chez Beanz?
You know, like I support him wanting to support his woman. Like, chase after your dreams. Your mental health is more important than all this calamity that you're going through from your boss to your parents. Like, I support that aspect of it. But like Kittie said, I don't know if he was actually up, like not necessarily up for it, but I don't think he was prepared for it. Because with that headspace now, okay, you really have to take on the financial, responsibility. And now I think in his headspace he's like, yo, I gotta do what I gotta do.
Yeah, and I kind of thought I get that she was unhappy about the low income housing, people looking for places to live and all that. That issue was very touching. But on the flip side, like you're gonna quit your job, but you don't even know what your dream is.
Yeah, that's
so that
what
part where
weird.
I was like, okay, well, can't you like do your dream on the side till you find it and then leave? But I was like, so do you not want to do real estate at all? Do you want what is it you have no idea what you want to do and you just quit everything?
Right.
And so that part I thought was that part was surprising. Like I get following your dream, absolutely. Like that's why I'm in LA, but to quit and you don't know what that dream is. That part, I was like, okay, Jerrica, what are you doing now?
Right. I think she did it because he encouraged her, but also just she was fed up. And then you can't lead by emotion when you're an adult. Like, you just can't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Adulting is hard. And it takes some wherewithal and takes some stick-to-itiveness and some other shit. So, yeah, I think she definitely should have found something else. Or at least, as you said, determine what you're, like, are you going to, what do you, like, I don't even hear her say, like, a field that she wanted to pursue.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't even know, like, are you want to be an actress? You going to write? What do you even like?
Right.
And to me, I'm like, okay, now you just sitting at home.
Exactly.
So that part I found a little bit shocking. How did you all feel the dinner was with her parents? I thought her parents
cute.
was actually kind of cool
cute.
this time. They weren't. Now that he came in third place or whatever, they're like halfway respecting him, which is interesting. It's like, oh, okay. Now
it takes certain developments in life. This is their baby girl. They want her to be with somebody that they respect, that they can say is holding her down. So it makes sense that they want better things for her. You know what I mean? You don't want your daughter to be with the loser.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't think he's a loser.
No,
but
he was
I
never
think,
a loser, but that's how they saw it.
Well, I know. I mean, I think that's my issue is that they saw it based on sort of some of these sort of like materialistic type things as opposed to, is he really down for my daughter and how's he treating her?
Yeah.
Because we can talk about that forever, but there are plenty of people with money who act crazy. So if he just seems so far in season 1 and 2, so kind of low key and stable, like, what's the deal? All right, so
It was cute though. I liked the dinner.
I did like the dinner with the parents, and I think that some of that kind of brought to the forefront her issues, because even her parents were kind of like, well, we helped them as much as we're going to help them. So I think that kind of really, didn't sit right with her. All right, so let's move on to Cruz and Toussaint before we wrap things up. So we have some flashbacks with Cruz, and we find out that there was this cop killed a black man in Kansas City, and he basically turned a blind eye.
Right.
And that's kind of shaping who he is today. And that was really interesting. And then that's the photo that I have here of him that's at the point when he decides to lie.
Yeah, because now he has a bleeding heart.
Yeah. And now we kind of understand why he's so passionate for people of color, people that are. So what did you guys think about this sort of flashback and how it's going to change, how it helps guide his actions now?
This particular scene or series, whatever, during the episode was honestly a trigger for me, because you see how things are like played out regardless to who's right or wrong. A lot of police officers are going to be protected by that blue shield, but you clearly saw that Cruz knew what the right thing was, but he put his integrity to the side for his career, and that just kind of creates a lot more questions as far as how many other police officers do that. And that wasn't a one-shot thing. If you looked at the car and everything, there were multiple shots in the car, multiple shots in the window, and this also is what caused this PTSD in the black community. Like, I think that's why I'm so frantic right now. It made me even want to look up certain statistics. Like in 2018, like 215 black people were killed by the hands of police brutality. So this scene was very intentional, but at the same time, it just lets you know, even in 2019, the problems that we still face as black people, and specifically me as a black man. I hope I'm not going on a rant, but
You're good.
I
appreciate it.
It really has me flustered to the point where I'm still very nervous if a police officer pulls up behind me.
Right.
It can be completely in the right, wallet on the dashboard, everything, but I'm still kind of like, could this be my last day on earth? And that's just sad. I don't have any record.
Wow.
I've never been in handcuffs, and I'm in that headspace. So that's why this episode was just showed how dirty it can get.
Well, and see, and that's my thing. I think this, like, to me, these issues, this issue and the low income, those issues are so huge. Like, you need a little bit more, because to me, I agree with you. But then on the flip side, there are good black cops that are right. And then also, even in his case, and with his Moreno, his old partner, like, it's not just being protected by the blue shield. That blue shield will take you out. And so that's the thing. Once you get that bullet in your out mailbox or whatever, it's like, oh, okay, you have to be able to know when you're out there in the field, somebody, you're not going to be killed by quote unquote friendly fire. So I think that there are a lot of issues. There's pressures both ways. So I get it. Like, he wanted to do the right thing, but then when you get this note that says "in lover" and a bullet, like, now you worried about your family too.
Exactly.
So that is the part where it's like, oh my gosh, he's so torn.
Yeah, it's pretty sad too, the kind of camaraderie that leads them to make decisions that have such great ripple effects.
Yeah.
But they're down for each other. That's just the way that whole culture
and I think what's so interesting is, because I watch a lot of mystery and police procedurals and stuff, and what's interesting is a lot of times the gangs and the cops are really the same. Like, a lot of the mentalities. I mean, there's always a good gangster and there's some good cops, but fundamentally sometimes they're both. It's just a gang in blue and then the other gang.
Right.
And so that is kind of what you see here. And so now Detective Toussaint, she's on a mission. She spun this story about Brandon being like this urban legend where they groom this good boy from birth to be like a mastermind criminal.
Only to become a criminal as an adult.
Exactly. And so she seems so passionate. And so then we find out some of her history and what shapes her, which is so interesting. And so why she's kind of turned so bitter. How do you guys feel about the pathway that Toussaint is going down?
She's walking around, she's carrying a lot of bitterness, a lot of heaviness in her heart, because we see that her son is, locked up and he's going through whatever he's going through behind closed doors. But I mean, I see why she's snooping her nose in certain things, but I think she needs to like let that heaviness
back.
go. Yeah, like because it's great.
Yeah.
You punching little kids in the face
Right.
because you feel some type of way about how your life turned out. It's like we're basically forced to see that everyone has to pick a side. There's no neutral space. You have to pick a side.
Yeah. That's a great observation. I hadn't thought about it like that.
Think about so the cops, you gotta pick a side. Okay, so you're gonna be with the Black Lives Matter, or you're gonna be with the Blue Shield. The gangs, you're gonna try to be with this gang or this gang. There's no, you're just walking to school. No, you have to pick a side because you live on this block. And with her, she has to be a good cop, even though everything that you've been through, still have a good heart, or be this aggressive. The streets don't have any rules, so why should you have any rules? Headspace, and that's what she's operating in. But at the same time, they've noticed that from her. They're getting certain reports, so it's just unfortunate that this is a great depiction of how things operate in our society.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because her supervisor was like, basically like, if you straighten up and fly right, you could be me. This could be you, but you have to take care of whatever preconceived demons that you're dealing with in therapy. And it was so interesting, and for once very poignant, because she was like, remember, whoever you beat up, that's somebody's son. And then cut to a picture of her and her son. And so that I was like, okay, finally, once they let the line fall, let us think about it, and then let the story play out. So then we see her with her son Tristan, who is like, we got to see more of you because you were a jerk in this episode. So he was just rude and mean, and having to deal with the fact that his mother is a cop and she took out this major drug dealer who was probably going to kill him, I would assume, or was hurting him in some way. And she says she would do it again, but he is still not in a space where he can admit that, okay, maybe I shouldn't have been banging like this.
Right.
So yeah, what did you guys think about her and Tristan?
I think this was the first time we actually saw Toussaint have a soft spot.
Right.
Because she's been so tough throughout all the rest of the episodes. But it's just very telling how, some people, we all have free will, so we make our own decisions. But sometimes the streets, if they got a good hold of you, it doesn't matter what kind of household you come from.
Right.
You know what I mean? So regardless of whatever narrative she tried to push to her son growing up, he still was, a victim to the streets, and now she has to look him in the face every time she comes to visit him. At the same time, when she's out in the streets trying to fight crime, that's always in the back of her mind. Like what didn't I do right to prevent my son from this? And I feel like she's taking it out on everybody, every gang member, whoever she comes encounter with.
And that might be her thought process, but I don't get the impression that she's blaming herself in any way. What did I do wrong? I get the impression that she's super bitter about whatever got him in there. But she asked him to own his own shit,
True.
remember?
Yeah.
So
Right.
I don't think that she takes any type of, oh, woe is me. I should have done better as a mom. Maybe this would not have happened. Maybe this wouldn't have been the outcome. I see her really just being like, you effed up, N-word. And what you gonna do? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm in between on that. I feel like eventually, if she thinks it through, that has to be why she's so violent, why she's so upset. Because I think fundamentally, like maybe she's not really facing it, but I think at a certain point she's gonna have to come to terms with, I failed you some way and you went to the streets because, not everybody does. Brandon didn't, Jada didn't, other people didn't. And here I am, a cop, and this is the way you chose to go. So I think, she's not there yet. But I think eventually that's kind of her. I think it's under there, but it's under there deep.
I was about to say it's under a lot of layers. It's a lot of layers.
But I do feel
she's an onion.
Yeah, I do feel that. All right, you guys. So that is this episode. Let's move on to our special segment. We'll make this quick. Yay. So I am a huge house head because I am from Chicago, and which is the birthplace of house music. And today on our special segment, this is Frankie Knuckles, known as the godfather of house music. And he basically started the fundamental, his mixes and his DJing, and he's won Grammys, and it started like in the 80s, early 80s at this club in Chicago called The Warehouse. And that is kind of the birthplace of house music.
Nice.
All right, so news and gossip. I hate that we only have a couple minutes on this, but it's been all around the news. All right, so our boy Brandon, a.k.a. Jason Mitchell, has been actually dropped from the Chi, dropped from Desperados, dropped by his management, UTA, all due to allegations of sexual misconduct. The allegations haven't really been fully fleshed out, but originally they started from Tiffany Boone, which is Jerrica's. Jerrica's who Jerrica is. And what's interesting is I think she started complaining about him last season and actually asked to get out of her contract this season, and they let her go. So, and I think they already knew that before they started.
They let her go, or they let him go?
They let her out of her contract because she was like, I can't work with him anymore, and I want to do other projects or whatever. And this is even before this stuff blew up. So she already was, I think this was already going to be her last season because of whatever issues she had with him. But then his co-stars in Desperado also complained. Yeah. So like everybody's dropped him, including his management. And there is this sort of viral video out there that shows him having like a crazy meltdown on an airplane. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say really on that. We do wish him the best, and I kind of want to, I want to hear more of the facts. He hasn't responded so far, so so I don't know what this means for the Chi or how it's going to end up these last 3 or 4 episodes.
Right.
So.
I mean, definitely more will be revealed, but all we can do is just, wish him the best and just hope like everybody finds therapy in all of this. It's just unfortunate.
Yes, it is very unfortunate. And I do hope that unlike his mom, he just doesn't go out of town. Like, I hope they have some sort of, something happens with his story. But there are some ways, I think, to, obviously get him out. But I feel like it'll be interesting because they'll have to, I guess, introduce a new character. He's such a major part to the Chi.
I hope he gets the help that he needs. If, in fact, the allegations are true, and there has to be some truth to it. Even times there's more than 2, 3, 4 people. Come on now. Everybody ain't crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And especially, I was really, and everybody's been saying this, like once your management drops you,
right,
like
looking good.
That's scary because that's almost the end of your career. It's like, are you done now?
Exactly.
So, so that part is scary, but we do hope that everyone, gets the help that they need and that the truth comes to light. All right, you guys, before we get out of here, let's do some quick predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
All right, we'll start with you, Kittie Kaboom.
Let's see. I predict that something is going to happen between Ronnie and Jada.
Yeah.
I don't know what. I don't know that they'll be like in a relationship, but I think that there's going to happen. Maybe they'll just be like the best of friends. Who knows? But I see that something with them coming together and working like collectively as a team to create something else.
Okay.
I see Kevin and Emmett working together in some way to reveal this situation with Keisha messing with an older dude. I don't think Emmett's going to do it 100%. I feel like he's going to have Kevin on his side a little bit because this is like disgusting. There's no way this can continue to rock out. So I don't know how it's going to blow up, but.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I definitely feel like you already know. I think it's whatever. I think it's going to come to light some kind of way. And yeah, hopefully, or maybe through Kevin. And I also feel like obviously Brandon is going to go down a really dark path with Duda, even though I think Cruz is going to warn him, but I think it's going to be too late at that point. Right. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
It's been a super fun show.
As usual.
So, you guys, where can everyone find you?
You can
sorry, go ahead, baby.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
You can find me at Chef_Beanz with a Z on all social media platforms. Chef Beanz.
That's what's up. On Twitter, I am Kittie Meow, MEEYOWWW. And on Instagram, I'm Kittie Kaboom, KITTIEKABOOM.
Cool. And you can follow me on all of my social media at Erika, ERIKA, D as in door, Edwards. Thank you so much. Like, subscribe, and see you guys again next week. Ciao for now.
Our founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.